The Los Angeles sun beat down hard on the concrete that Tuesday afternoon. Min-Jun Kim wiped the sweat from his forehead as he restocked the drink coolers in his family's convenience store. He was 17 years old and worked here every day after school. His parents owned the small shop on the corner of a busy street. It was not fancy, but it was theirs. Min-Jun looked at the clock on the wall. It was almost 3 in the afternoon. The hottest part of the day. Only a few customers had come in during the past hour. Most people were probably staying inside with their air conditioning. Min-Jun did not blame them. Even with the store's AC running, he felt the heat. He heard his mother in the back room counting inventory. His father had gone to pick up supplies from the warehouse. Min-Jun was alone in the front of the store. He liked these quiet moments. They gave him time to think about his homework and his plans for college next year. A loud honking sound came from outside. Then another. And another. Min-Jun looked up from the cooler. Through the store's front window, he could see cars stopping suddenly in the street. Drivers were hitting their brakes hard. Something was wrong. Min-Jun walked quickly to the door and pushed it open. The hot air hit him like a wall. He stepped outside onto the sidewalk and looked toward the intersection. His heart jumped in his chest. A small dog was running between the cars. The animal looked terrified. It dodged one car, then another. Horns blared all around it. "Somebody help that dog," a woman shouted from across the street. Min-Jun did not think. He just moved. His legs carried him forward before his brain could tell him to stop. He ran toward the intersection, his sneakers slapping against the hot pavement. The dog was a small terrier mix, brown and white, with floppy ears. It ran in circles, too scared to know which way to go. Cars were coming from both directions. A truck slowed down but could not stop completely. The dog ran right in front of it. Min-Jun's heart pounded. He had to reach the animal before something terrible happened. "Hey, watch out, kid!" someone yelled. Min-Jun ignored the voice. He jumped off the curb and into the street. A car swerved around him. The driver laid on the horn. Min-Jun kept running. The dog saw him coming and tried to run the other way. Min-Jun changed direction, cutting across the lane. Another car was approaching fast. Too fast, time seemed to slow down. Min-Jun dove forward with his arms stretched out. His fingers touched fur. He grabbed the dog and pulled it against his chest. At the same moment, he felt something hard hit his shoulder. It was a car's side mirror. The impact spun him around, but he held onto the dog tightly. He stumbled and fell to his knees on the road. "Stop, stop!" Multiple voices screamed. All the cars came to a complete halt. The intersection went silent except for the sound of engines idling and the dog's heavy breathing against Min-Jun's chest. Min-Jun stayed on his knees for a moment, making sure the little animal was okay. The dog was shaking but unhurt. It licked Min-Jun's hand. "Oh my God, are you crazy?" a man shouted from his car window. But his voice was not angry. It was shocked and concerned. Min-Jun slowly stood up. His shoulder hurt where the mirror had clipped him. He would have a bruise there tomorrow. But it did not matter. The dog was safe. That was all that counted. He walked carefully back to the sidewalk, still holding the trembling animal. A small crowd had gathered. Some people were recording with their phones. A woman in a blue dress rushed over to him. "Are you all right?" That was incredibly brave. Or incredibly foolish. Maybe both, she said. Min-Jun gave her a weak smile. "I'm okay, but this little guy needs help." He carried the dog back into the store. His mother came running from the back room. She had heard the commotion outside. "Min-Jun, what happened? Are you hurt?" she asked in Korean. "I'm fine, Mom, but this dog was almost hit by cars," he replied, also in Korean. His mother's worried expression softened when she saw the dog. She quickly got a bowl and filled it with water. Min-Jun set the dog down on the floor carefully. The animal immediately began drinking. It must have been lost for a while. It looked thirsty and tired. Min-Jun checked the dog's collar. There was a small metal tag hanging from it. He turned it over and saw a phone number engraved on the back. There was also a name, Buddy. "Buddy," Min-Jun said softly. The dog's ears perked up. "That's your name, isn't it?" He pulled out his cell phone and dialed the number on the tag. It rang 3 times before someone answered. "Hello?" It was an older woman's voice. She sounded worried. "Hello, ma'am. I found a dog named Buddy. Is this your dog?" Min-Jun asked. The woman gasped. "Buddy? You found Buddy? Oh, thank God." Yes, that's my dog. Where are you? Is he okay?" Minjun gave her the address of the store. The woman said she would be there in 10 minutes. She lived nearby. Her voice cracked with emotion as she thanked him over and over. While they waited, Minjun sat on the floor with Buddy. The dog had stopped shaking. It seemed to understand that it was safe now. Minjun petted its soft fur and examined it for injuries. Everything looked fine, just scared and tired. His mother brought him an ice pack for his shoulder. She shook her head but smiled at the same time. That was typical for her. She worried about him but was also proud of his kind heart. "You could have been seriously hurt," she said quietly. "I know, Mom. But I couldn't just watch," Minjun replied. "I know," she said. "That's why I'm proud of you. But please be more careful." Exactly 10 minutes later, an older woman rushed through the store's door. She had gray hair and wore a simple dress. Her eyes were red and filled with tears. When Buddy saw her, the dog jumped up and ran to her, barking happily. "Buddy, my sweet boy," the woman cried. She fell to her knees and wrapped her arms around the dog. Tears streamed down her face. "I thought I lost you forever." Minjun learned that her name was Mrs. Patterson. She lived 3 blocks away. Buddy had somehow gotten out of the backyard through a loose board in the fence. She had been searching for him for 2 hours. She was terrified that something terrible had happened to him. "You saved his life," Mrs. Patterson said to Minjun. She reached into her purse. "Please let me give you a reward. How much do you want?" Minjun held up his hands and shook his head. "No, ma'am. I don't want any money. I just did what anyone would do. But you risked your life. You could have been hit by a car," she insisted. "But I wasn't, and Buddy is safe. That's all that matters," Minjun said with a genuine smile. Mrs. Patterson's eyes filled with fresh tears. She explained that Buddy had been her husband's dog. Her husband had passed away 1 year ago. Buddy was all she had left of him. The dog was her only companion now. Losing Buddy would have broken her heart completely. Minjun felt a lump in his throat. He was glad he had acted quickly. This was not just about saving a dog. It was about saving someone's precious connection to a person they loved. Mrs. Patterson hugged him tightly before leaving with Buddy in her arms. She promised to fix her fence that very day. She also promised to visit the store again soon to thank him properly. After they left, Minjun went back to work. His shoulder still hurt, but it was a good hurt. It reminded him that he had done something that mattered today. He did not know that several people had filmed his rescue. He did not know that those videos were already being uploaded to the internet. He had no idea that his life was about to change in ways he could never imagine. That evening, Minjun went home to the small apartment above the store. He told his father what had happened. His father, a quiet man who rarely showed emotion, hugged him tightly. Minjun did his homework, ate dinner with his family, and went to bed. It had been quite a day. Tomorrow would be back to normal. Or so he thought. Minjun's phone buzzed on his nightstand. Then it buzzed again. And again. He opened his eyes slowly. Sunlight was streaming through his bedroom window. He reached for his phone and looked at the screen. His eyes went wide. He had 73 notifications. That was strange. Minjun usually got maybe 5 or 6 notifications in a morning. Most of them were just group chat messages from his friends. But 73? Something was different today. He unlocked his phone and saw that most of the notifications were from Instagram and Twitter. People were tagging him in posts. People he did not even know. He clicked on one of the tags and his stomach did a small flip. It was a video of him. Yesterday. Running into the street to save Buddy. Someone had filmed the whole thing. The video showed him dodging cars, grabbing the dog, and getting hit by the side mirror. The caption read, "Real-life hero risks everything to save a stranger's dog. This is what courage looks like." Minjun sat up in bed. His heart was beating fast. He clicked on the video to see how many views it had. The number made him blink several times to make sure he was reading it correctly. 5 million views. 5 million people had watched him save Buddy. No way, he whispered to himself. His phone buzzed again. This time it was a text message from his best friend Jiwoo. "Dude, you're famous. Have you seen the video? Everyone is talking about you." Minjun quickly scrolled through his social media feeds. Jiwoo was right. The video was everywhere. Different versions of it had been posted by different people. Some had music added to them. Others had slow-motion effects. All of them had thousands of comments. He started reading some of the comments. Most of them were positive. This kid is amazing. We need more people like this in the world. Faith in humanity restored. But some comments made him uncomfortable. He's just doing it for attention. Probably staged. Who runs into traffic like that? Min-jun put his phone down. He felt strange. Yesterday he had just acted on instinct. He saw a dog in danger and helped. He did not think about it. He certainly did not do it to become famous. Now millions of people were watching him and judging him. It felt weird. His mother knocked on his door. Min-jun, are you awake? There are people calling the store. They say they're from news stations. They want to interview you. Min-jun groaned and fell back onto his pillow. News stations? This was getting out of control. Over the next few days, the attention only grew. The video reached 10 million views, then 15 million. Local news channels called constantly. They wanted Min-jun to come on their morning shows. They wanted to tell his story. At first, Min-jun said no to all of them. He did not want to be on TV. He just wanted everything to go back to normal. But his parents encouraged him to do at least one interview. You did something good, his father said. Let people see that good things still happen in the world. Maybe it will inspire them. So Min-jun agreed to one interview with a local news station. They came to the store with cameras and lights. A reporter with perfect hair and bright white teeth asked him questions. Min-jun felt nervous. He was not good at talking in front of cameras. Min-jun, what went through your mind when you saw that dog in traffic? The reporter asked. Min-jun thought about it. I didn't really think. I just knew I had to help. The dog was scared and in danger. Someone had to do something. Were you afraid of getting hurt? Not really, Min-jun answered honestly. I was more afraid that the dog would get hurt. I just focused on reaching him. What do you want to say to all the people who are calling you a hero? Min-jun felt his face getting hot. He looked down at his hands. I'm not a hero. Heroes are people like firefighters and doctors and soldiers. I just helped a dog. Anyone would have done the same thing. The interview aired that evening. Min-jun watched it with his family. He looked awkward on TV. His hair was messy and he kept fidgeting with his hands. But his words sounded sincere. His mother squeezed his hand and smiled at him. The next day at school was strange. People who had never talked to Min-jun before suddenly wanted to be his friend. They asked for selfies with him. Some asked him to sign their notebooks. It was bizarre. His close friends treated him the same as always, which he appreciated. Ji-woo joked about it at lunch. Should I start calling you Dogman now? Do you have superpowers we don't know about? Min-jun threw a French fry at him. Shut up. This is already weird enough. But Ji-woo also showed him something on his phone that made Min-jun stop eating. The video now had over 20 million views. It had been shared by several celebrity accounts. A famous talk show host had tweeted about it. An animal rescue organization had posted it with a message about the importance of helping animals in need. Dude, you're not just local famous anymore. You're internet famous. That's like actual famous, Ji-woo said. Min-jun did not know how to feel about that. Part of him was glad that Buddy's story was spreading. Maybe it would make people more aware of lost animals. Maybe someone else would help a dog in need because they saw the video. That would be good. But another part of him just wanted to disappear. He did not like being the center of attention. He preferred to blend in, to be normal. Now everyone was looking at him. Strangers on the internet were talking about him. It was overwhelming. Some people at school were not so nice about it. A group of boys in his grade started calling him Hero Boy in a mocking tone. They said he probably staged the whole thing for views. They said the dog was never really in danger. Min-jun tried to ignore them, but their words still stung. One girl in his English class, Hana, defended him. You're just jealous because you'd never have the guts to do what he did, she told the boys. They shut up after that. After school, Min-jun walked home slowly. He took the long way, avoiding the main streets where someone might recognize him. When he finally got to the store, his mother was talking to a customer. She looked up and waved him over. Min-jun, this is Mr. Chen. He wanted to meet you. Mr. Chen was an older man with kind eyes. He shook Min-jun's hand firmly. I just wanted to say thank you, young man. I saw what you did on the news. My own dog died last year. He was my best friend for 12 years. Watching you save that dog reminded me that there are still good people in the world who care about animals. Thank you for that. The man's voice cracked a little at the end. Min-jun felt a lump in his throat. I'm sorry about your dog, sir. I'm sure he was a great friend. Mr. Chen nodded and wiped his eyes. He bought some groceries and left. After he was gone, Minjun's mother hugged him. That's the 5th person today who came in just to thank you, she said. You touched more hearts than you know. That night, Minjun was doing his homework when his phone buzzed. He almost ignored it. He was tired of notifications. But something made him look. It was a direct message on Instagram from a verified account. Minjun stared at the screen. The account name was familiar. Very familiar. It was an account associated with Vin Diesel. The actor. The guy from the Fast and Furious movies. Minjun's hand started shaking a little. This had to be fake. It was probably a scam account or a parody. Famous people did not just message random teenagers. He clicked on the message anyway. Hi Minjun, I saw the video of you saving that dog. That took real courage and heart. I wanted to reach out and let you know that what you did was truly special. I've always believed that family extends beyond just people. It includes the animals we share this world with. You proved that. Would you be open to talking sometime? I'd love to hear your story. Minjun read the message 3 times. His heart was pounding. Was this real? Could Vin Diesel actually have seen his video and messaged him? It seemed impossible. But the account was verified. It had millions of followers. All the posts looked official. He took a screenshot of the message and sent it to Jiwoo. His phone rang 5 seconds later. Is that real? Jiwoo shouted into the phone. Please tell me that's real. I don't know. How do I know if it's real? Minjun said. Click on the account. Look at the posts. Does it look official? Minjun clicked through the account's posts. They were all professionally done. Videos from movie sets, photos with other celebrities, official announcements about films. Everything looked legitimate. I think it might be real, Minjun said slowly. But why would Vin Diesel message me? Because you're viral, man. 20 million people have seen that video. Of course, celebrities are seeing it. Minjun sat down on his bed. His mind was racing. Vin Diesel. The guy who played Dominic Toretto. The guy who was in some of Minjun's favorite movies. That Vin Diesel had messaged him about saving Buddy. He did not know what to do. Should he respond? What would he even say? Hey, thanks for messaging me. I really liked you in that one movie. That sounded stupid. He decided to show his parents. They would know what to do. His father looked at the message carefully. He was always suspicious of things on the internet. It could be fake, his father said. Scammers pretend to be famous people all the time. But the account is verified, Minjun pointed out. And look at all the followers. It has to be real, right? His mother had a different opinion. What if it is real? What's the worst that could happen if you respond? If it's fake, nothing happens. If it's real, you might get to talk to someone you admire. Just be careful and don't give out any personal information. The next morning, Minjun woke up early. He had barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he thought about the message from Vin Diesel's account. Part of him still thought it might be an elaborate prank, but another part of him hoped it was real. He got ready for school in a daze. His mother noticed he was distracted while eating breakfast. Are you okay? She asked in Korean. You look worried. I'm fine, Mom. Just thinking about everything that's happening, Minjun replied. His phone rang while he was brushing his teeth. It was a number he did not recognize. A California area code. Minjun's heart started racing. He answered the call. Hello? Is this Minjun Kim? A woman's voice asked. She sounded professional and friendly. Yes, this is Minjun, he said, still holding his toothbrush. Hi, Minjun. My name is Rachel Chen, and I work with Vin Diesel's management team. I'm calling about the message you received yesterday. Is now a good time to talk? Minjun almost dropped his phone. This was really happening. It was not a prank. He quickly spit out his toothpaste and wiped his mouth. Yes, now is fine. Sorry, I just woke up. Rachel laughed kindly. No worries. I know this must be unexpected. Vin saw your video a few days ago and was really moved by what you did. He's a huge animal lover himself. He's rescued several dogs over the years and supports animal charities. That's amazing, Minjun said. He was still trying to process this conversation. Vin Diesel's assistant was on the phone with him. This was surreal. Vin would love to meet you in person, Rachel continued. He's going to be in Los Angeles next week for some promotional work. Would you be interested in meeting him? Minjun had to sit down. His legs felt weak. Meet him? Like in person? Are you serious? Completely serious. We can arrange everything. We'd send a car to pick you and your family up. You'd meet Vin at a private location. Nothing public or overwhelming. Just a chance for him to talk with you and thank you personally. Minjun could not believe what he was hearing. I would love that. That would be incredible. Wonderful. Can I speak with one of your parents? We'll need to arrange some details and make sure everyone is comfortable with the plan. Minjun called his mother over. She took the phone with a nervous expression. Rachel explained everything to her in detail. His mother asked questions in her careful English. Rachel was patient and clear with all her answers. After about 15 minutes, his mother handed the phone back to Minjun. She seems very professional, his mother said. I think this is real. You're going to meet Vin Diesel. Minjun felt like he was floating. The rest of that day at school was a blur. He could not focus on anything his teachers said. All he could think about was meeting one of his favorite actors. Jiwoo was more excited than Minjun when he heard the news. You have to take pictures, get an autograph, ask him if they're making another Fast and Furious movie. Jiwoo said at lunch. I don't want to bother him with a million questions, Minjun said. He's taking time to meet me. I should just be grateful. Are you kidding? This is the coolest thing that's ever happened to anyone we know. You better ask him at least one good question. Over the next few days, Minjun tried to prepare himself mentally. He did not know what to expect. Would it be awkward? What would they talk about? Should he dress up or dress casual? These questions kept him awake at night. Rachel called again 3 days before the meeting. She went over all the details. A car would pick up Minjun and his parents at 10 in the morning. They would drive to a private location where Vin was working. The meeting would be casual and relaxed. Nothing to stress about. Vin is really looking forward to this, Rachel said. He's a very down-to-earth guy. Just be yourself. On the morning of the meeting, Minjun changed his outfit 4 times. He finally settled on jeans and a clean button-up shirt. Not too formal, not too casual. His father wore his best suit. His mother wore a nice dress. They all looked nervous and excited. The car arrived exactly on time. It was a nice black SUV with tinted windows. A professional driver opened the door for them. The inside of the car smelled like leather and was spotlessly clean. Minjun had never been in such a fancy vehicle before. The drive took about 40 minutes. Minjun watched Los Angeles pass by through the window. His hands were sweating. His stomach felt like it was doing flips. What if he said something stupid? What if he embarrassed himself in front of his hero? You'll be fine, his mother said, squeezing his hand. She could always tell when he was nervous. The car pulled up to a large building that looked like a production studio. There were security guards at the gate. The driver showed them some kind of pass and they were waved through. They parked near a side entrance. Rachel was waiting for them there. She was a woman in her 30s with a warm smile and professional clothes. She shook hands with everyone and made them feel welcome. Vin is just finishing up some interviews inside. He should be ready in about 10 minutes. Can I get you anything while you wait? Water, coffee? They all said they were fine, though Minjun's throat felt dry. Rachel led them into a comfortable waiting room. There were couches, a coffee table with magazines, and a TV playing music videos on mute. Minjun sat down but could not relax. This is really happening, he whispered to his father. His father nodded. Even his usually calm father looked a little nervous. They were about to meet a real movie star. This was not something that happened to people like them. The door opened and Rachel poked her head in. He's ready for you now. Follow me. Minjun stood up. His legs felt shaky. He followed Rachel down a hallway with his parents right behind him. They passed rooms full of equipment and people working on computers. Everything looked professional and busy. Rachel stopped at a door and knocked twice. A voice from inside said, "Come in." Rachel opened the door and gestured for them to enter. Minjun stepped inside and his breath caught in his throat. There he was. Vin Diesel, standing right there, in real life. He was taller than Minjun expected. He wore black pants and a simple gray shirt. His famous bald head and muscular build were unmistakable. But what struck Minjun most was his smile. It was genuine and warm. Minjun, Vin said, walking over with his hand extended. It's so good to meet you, man. Minjun shook his hand. Vin's grip was firm but friendly. It's an honor to meet you, sir. I can't believe this is happening. Please call me Vin, and the honor is mine. What you did took real guts, Vin said. He turned to Minjun's parents and greeted them warmly as well, shaking their hands and thanking them for coming. The room was set up like a casual lounge. There were couches, some chairs, and a table with snacks and drinks. Vin invited them all to sit down. He pulled up a chair and sat across from Minjun, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. "So I have to ask," Vin said. "What was going through your head when you ran into that traffic? Were you scared?" Minjun thought about how to answer. "I think I was too focused on the dog to be scared. I just saw this little animal running around terrified about to get hit. I didn't think about the danger. I just knew I had to help." Vin nodded slowly. "That's the mark of real courage, you know? Not the absence of fear, but acting in spite of it, or acting before fear can even stop you. That's special." "I never thought of it that way," Minjun said honestly. "I just did what felt right. And that's exactly why I wanted to meet you," Vin said. He leaned back in his chair. "I've made a lot of action movies. I've played heroes. But you know what? Those are just characters, scripts written by other people. What you did was real. You actually put yourself at risk to save a life. That matters more than anything I've ever done on a movie screen." Minjun felt his face getting hot. "I'm just a regular person, though. You've inspired millions of people with your movies. I grew up watching Fast and Furious with my dad. Those movies taught me about loyalty and family and never giving up." Vin's eyes lit up. "You watched them with your dad?" He looked at Minjun's father. "Sir, that means a lot to me. Those movies are about family at their core. The fact that they brought you and your son together makes everything worth it." Minjun's father, who rarely spoke much English, smiled and nodded. "Good movies, very good. My son loves them." For the next hour they just talked. Vin asked about Minjun's life, his school, his plans for the future. He told stories about his own life, about growing up in New York, about getting into acting, about the dogs he had rescued over the years. He was nothing like Minjun imagined a big celebrity would be. He was normal, down to earth, easy to talk to. Vin talked about one dog in particular, a pit bull he had found abandoned near a movie set years ago. "Nobody wanted him because of his breed," Vin said. "But I took him home and he became the gentlest, most loving dog I ever had. Animals just want to be loved and protected, like that little dog you saved." "What was his name again?" "Buddy," Minjun said. "Buddy, that's a good name." Vin smiled. "You know, I've been thinking. I use my platform to support various causes. Animal welfare is one of them. What you did has already inspired thousands of people. The video has over 30 million views now. People are donating to animal shelters because of your story. That's the kind of ripple effect we need more of." "I had no idea," Minjun said. "I haven't really been checking the video much. It makes me uncomfortable seeing myself like that." "I get that," Vin said. "Fame can be weird. But remember, it's not about you being famous. It's about what your actions represent. Courage, kindness, compassion. Those are the things people are responding to. You gave them hope that good people still exist." Rachel knocked on the door and came in. "Sorry to interrupt, but we have something outside when you're ready." Vin stood up and grinned. "You ready for a surprise?" Minjun looked confused. "A surprise?" "Come on," Vin said, waving for everyone to follow him. They walked outside to a courtyard area. Minjun stepped through the door and stopped in his tracks. His hand flew to his mouth. Standing there was Mrs. Patterson, and in her arms was Buddy. The little dog saw Minjun and started barking excitedly, wagging his tail so hard his whole body wiggled. "Buddy!" Minjun rushed over. Mrs. Patterson set the dog down and Buddy jumped up on Minjun, licking his face and whimpering with joy. Minjun knelt down and hugged the dog. Tears filled his eyes. He did not even try to hide them. Mrs. Patterson had tears on her face too. "I couldn't believe it when they called me," she said. "They asked if Buddy and I wanted to be part of your surprise. Of course I said yes. This young man saved my best friend's life." Vin walked over and stood next to them, his hands in his pockets. "I figured you'd want to see the little guy again. Make sure he's doing okay." Minjun looked up at Vin. "Thank you. This is incredible. All of this." "We're not done yet," Vin said with a mysterious smile. "Come back inside. I have something for you." Minjun walked back inside with Buddy still in his arms. The little dog had calmed down but refused to leave Minjun's side. Mrs. Patterson walked next to them, smiling through happy tears. Minjun's parents followed behind, talking quietly to each other in Korean. His mother kept dabbing her eyes with a tissue. Vin led them back to the lounge room. But now there was something new on the table. A leather jacket. It was black and looked expensive. Very expensive. Min-jun could see something embroidered on the back, but he could not read it from where he stood. "Go ahead," Vin said, gesturing to the jacket. "Take a look." Min-jun carefully set Buddy down and walked to the table. He picked up the jacket. It was heavier than he expected, and the leather felt soft and high quality. He turned it around to see the back. In gold thread, beautifully embroidered, was one word: hero. Min-jun stared at it. His throat felt tight. "I can't accept this. It's too much." "Yes, you can, and yes, you will," Vin said firmly but kindly. "That jacket represents something important. You earned it, not by trying to be a hero, but by being one when it mattered. Put it on." With shaking hands, Min-jun slipped the jacket on. It fit perfectly. The leather felt cool against his arms. He looked down at himself and could not believe it. This felt like a dream. "It looks good on you," Vin said. "A real hero wearing a hero's jacket. That's how it should be." Min-jun's mother started crying harder. His father put his arm around her. They were both overwhelmed with emotion. Their son was standing there in a custom leather jacket given to him by a movie star because he had saved a dog's life. How did life become this strange and wonderful? "There's more," Vin said. He walked over to a bag sitting on one of the chairs. He pulled out an envelope and handed it to Mrs. Patterson. "This is for you, ma'am." Mrs. Patterson opened the envelope carefully. Her eyes went wide. "Oh my goodness. This is too much. What is it?" Min-jun asked. Mrs. Patterson showed him. It was a check. A very large check made out to the local animal rescue organization. But it had a note written on the memo line, "In honor of Buddy and Min-jun Kim. I made a donation in your name," Vin explained to Min-jun. "The shelter will use this money to help other animals like Buddy. Animals that are lost, abandoned, or in danger. Your actions saved one dog. This donation will help save many more." Min-jun did not know what to say. Words felt inadequate. Thank you did not seem like enough. But it was all he had. "Thank you so much. This is incredible." "You inspired this," Vin said. "I just made it happen. The inspiration came from you." Rachel came back into the room with a photographer. "If everyone is ready, we thought it would be nice to take some photos. For you to keep as memories. And if it's okay with you, Min-jun, we'd like to post some of them on social media, to show people that good things happen when we look out for each other. But only if you're comfortable with that." Min-jun looked at his parents. They nodded. "That's okay with me," he said. For the next 20 minutes, they took photos. Min-jun and Vin standing together. Min-jun with Buddy. Min-jun's whole family with Vin. Mrs. Patterson holding Buddy next to Min-jun. The photographer was professional and made everyone laugh and relax. By the end, Min-jun forgot to be nervous. He was just enjoying the moment. After the photos, Vin invited them to sit back down. "I have one more thing I want to offer you," he said to Min-jun. "I'm working on a new project. We start filming in a few months. I'd love for you to visit the set, see how movies are made, meet the cast and crew, just hang out for a day. Would you be interested in that?" Min-jun's eyes went huge. "Visit a movie set? A real movie set? With you?" "With me," Vin confirmed with a grin. "You could bring some friends too if you want. Make it a fun day. What do you say?" "Yes. Absolutely yes," Min-jun said without hesitation. Jiwoo was going to lose his mind when he heard about this. "Perfect. Rachel will work out the details with your family when the time comes." Vin stood up and extended his hand again. "Min-jun, it's been an honor meeting you, really. You remind me that there are good people in this world. People who act when others might hesitate. That's rare and precious. Don't ever lose that." Min-jun shook his hand. "I won't, I promise. And thank you. For all of this. For taking the time to meet me. For everything. I'll never forget this." "Neither will I," Vin said. He pulled Min-jun into a brief hug. It was the kind of hug that felt genuine. Like he really meant it. Vin hugged Min-jun's parents too and thanked them for raising such a good son. He knelt down and petted Buddy, telling the little dog to stay safe and listen to Mrs. Patterson. He shook Mrs. Patterson's hand and told her she was clearly a wonderful person to have raised such a loving companion. Before they left, Vin pulled out his phone. "Can we take one more photo? Just you and me? For my personal collection?" They stood together and Vin held up his phone for a selfie. Minjun smiled naturally. It felt like taking a photo with a friend, not a celebrity. Vin looked at the photo and nodded approvingly. Perfect. I'm going to treasure this one. Rachel walked them back to the car. Minjun was still wearing the leather jacket. He did not want to take it off. Buddy had fallen asleep in his arms, tired from all the excitement. Mrs. Patterson walked slowly, still dabbing her eyes with a tissue. This was the most wonderful day of my life, she said to Minjun, not just because of meeting a movie star, but because I got to see you honored for your kindness. You deserve all of this and more. You deserve good things too, Mrs. Patterson, Minjun said. I'm just glad Buddy is safe and happy with you. They said their goodbyes in the parking lot. Mrs. Patterson took Buddy from Minjun's arms. The little dog licked his face one more time before settling against Mrs. Patterson's chest. They promised to visit each other soon. Mrs. Patterson said she would bring Buddy to the store next week. In the car on the way home, Minjun sat between his parents. He still could not believe everything that had just happened. He looked down at the jacket he was wearing. The word hero glinted in the afternoon sunlight coming through the window. Are you okay? His mother asked softly. I don't know what I am, Minjun said honestly. Happy, grateful, overwhelmed, all of those things at once. His father spoke up. He did not talk much, but when he did, his words carried weight. You stayed true to who you are, he said in Korean. You did not do that to be rewarded. You did it because it was right. That is why good things are happening to you now. The world sees your heart. Minjun felt tears sting his eyes. His father rarely said such emotional things. Hearing it now meant everything. When they got home, the family went upstairs to their apartment above the store. Minjun sat on his bed, still wearing the jacket. He pulled out his phone and saw he had dozens of messages from Jiwoo. Where are you? How did it go? Did you meet him? Answer your phone. I'm dying here. Minjun smiled and called him. Jiwoo answered on the first ring. Finally. Tell me everything. Every single detail. Don't leave anything out. Jiwoo practically shouted into the phone. Minjun told him everything. About Vin being so normal and nice. About Buddy being there as a surprise. About the leather jacket and the donation and the invitation to visit a movie set. With every detail, Jiwoo's reactions got louder and more excited. And he said I could bring friends to the movie set. Minjun finished. There was silence on the other end of the phone. Then Jiwoo said very quietly, You're taking me, right? Please say you're taking me. Minjun laughed. Of course I'm taking you, you idiot. Who else would I take? Jiwoo screamed so loud that Minjun had to pull the phone away from his ear. He could hear Jiwoo jumping up and down in his room. It made Minjun smile. At least some things were still normal. His best friend was still his best friend, even if everything else had changed. That evening, Minjun helped out in the store like he always did. But now he was wearing a custom leather jacket with Hero on the back. Customers noticed. Some asked about it. Minjun told them about his day, about meeting Vin Diesel, about seeing Buddy again. One regular customer, an elderly man who came in every day for his coffee, shook his head in amazement. That man Vin Diesel sounds like a real class act. Most celebrities would never take the time to do something like that. He was really kind, Minjun agreed. He made me feel like what I did mattered. It did matter, son. It does matter. Don't ever forget that. That night before bed, Minjun checked social media. Vin Diesel had posted some of the photos from their meeting. The caption was simple but powerful. Today I met a real hero. Minjun Kim risked his life to save a dog in traffic. He didn't do it for recognition or reward. He did it because it was the right thing to do. That's the kind of person we should all aspire to be. Family isn't just blood. It's everyone and everything we choose to protect and love. Minjun gets that. Thanks for the inspiration, brother. The post already had over 2 million likes. The comment section was filled with positive messages. People tagging their friends. People sharing their own stories of helping animals. People saying that Minjun's actions had inspired them to be better. Minjun scrolled through the comments for a while. Then he put his phone down and looked at the leather jacket hanging on his chair. Just a few days ago, he had been a normal teenager working in his family's store. Now he was someone who had inspired millions of people, someone who had met his hero, someone who wore a jacket that said Hero on the back. But the strangest thing was Minjun did not feel that different inside. He was still himself. He still had homework to do tomorrow. He still had to help in the store after school. He was still nervous about college applications. Life went on. The only real difference was that now he understood something he had not fully grasped before. Small actions could have big impacts. Choosing to help when you see someone in need could change everything, not just for them, but for everyone watching. Everyone who needed to believe that good people still existed. He had saved Buddy's life. But in a way, Buddy had changed his life too. That little scared dog running through traffic had set off a chain of events that led to this incredible day. It was funny how life worked sometimes. Min-jun turned off his light and lay in bed thinking about everything that had happened. He thought about Vin Diesel's words. About being a hero not by trying, but by acting when it mattered. Tomorrow he would go back to being regular Min-jun. The student, the son, the kid who worked at his family's store. But now he would also be Min-jun, who knew that his actions mattered. That kindness had power. That courage could inspire others, and that was a pretty good feeling to fall asleep with. 3 weeks passed after Min-jun met Vin Diesel. Life started to feel normal again, or at least a new version of normal. The video views had stopped climbing so rapidly. The news station stopped calling. Min-jun could walk down the street without strangers recognizing him. It was a relief, but something inside him had changed. He could not explain it exactly, but he felt different. He kept thinking about what Vin had said, about how one action could inspire many others, about family extending beyond just people to include animals. Those words stayed with Min-jun. On a Saturday morning, Min-jun woke up early. He did not have school and the store did not open for another hour. He lay in bed thinking. Then he made a decision. He got dressed, ate a quick breakfast, and told his parents he was going out. "Where are you going?" his mother asked. "I'll be back later. I just need to check something out," Min-jun said. He took the bus to the other side of town. He had looked up the address the night before. After a 20-minute ride, he got off at his stop and walked 3 blocks. There it was, the Los Angeles County Animal Shelter, the same shelter that had received the donation Vin made in his name. Min-jun walked through the front door. The smell of animals hit him immediately. Dogs were barking in the distance. The reception area was clean but worn. A woman in her 40s sat behind the desk, typing on a computer. She looked up when he entered. "Good morning. Can I help you?" she asked with a friendly smile. "Hi, I was wondering if you needed any volunteers," Min-jun asked. The woman's eyes lit up. "We always need volunteers. Are you interested in helping out?" "Yes, ma'am. I am." She pulled out some papers and a pen. "Wonderful. Let me get you an application. Can I ask what made you interested in volunteering here?" Min-jun thought about how to answer. "I helped save a dog a few weeks ago. It made me realize that I want to do more to help animals. This seemed like a good place to start." The woman paused and looked at him more carefully. Recognition dawned on her face. "Wait, are you Min-jun? The young man who rescued that dog from traffic?" Min-jun felt his face getting warm. "Yes, that's me." The woman stood up and came around the desk. She shook his hand enthusiastically. "It's such an honor to meet you. Your story inspired so many people. And the donation that was made in your name? That money is going to help save dozens of animals, maybe hundreds. We're so grateful. I'm glad it's helping," Min-jun said. "But I want to do more than just have my name on a donation. I want to actually help. Get my hands dirty. Learn how to take care of animals properly." The woman smiled warmly. "Then you've come to the right place. I'm Karen, the volunteer coordinator. Let's get you set up." Min-jun filled out the application and went through a brief orientation. Karen showed him around the facility. They walked through rows of kennels filled with dogs of all sizes and breeds. Some jumped at the bars excitedly when they saw people. Others lay quietly in the corners, too sad or scared to react. "We get about 30 new animals every week," Karen explained. "Some are strays. Some are surrendered by owners who can't care for them anymore. Some are rescued from bad situations. We do our best to find them all homes, but it's not always easy." They stopped in front of a kennel holding a large German Shepherd mix. The dog sat calmly, watching them with intelligent eyes. "This is Max," Karen said. "He's been here for 3 months. He's a wonderful dog. Trained, gentle, great with people. But he's 7 years old and has a gray muzzle. Most people want puppies. They walk right past dogs like Max." Min-jun knelt down in front of the kennel. Max walked over and pressed his nose against the bars. Min-jun reached through and petted his head. The dog's tail wagged slowly. He deserves a good home, Minjun said quietly. They all do, Karen agreed. That's why the work we do here matters so much. Minjun started volunteering every Saturday morning. He would arrive at 8 and stay until noon. His jobs included cleaning kennels, feeding the animals, giving the dogs exercise and playtime, and helping with basic grooming. It was hard work. Some days it was emotionally exhausting, especially when he saw animals that had been abused or neglected. But it was also rewarding. Minjun discovered that he was good with scared animals. He had a patient, calm way about him that seemed to put them at ease. Karen noticed this and often asked him to work with the more anxious dogs. Jiwoo started coming with him on the second weekend. At first, Jiwoo just wanted to play with puppies. But after seeing the older dogs and hearing their stories, he became just as committed as Minjun. The two friends would spend their Saturday mornings together, working side by side, making a difference one animal at a time. Word spread about Minjun volunteering at the shelter. A local news station asked to do a follow-up story. Minjun agreed, but only on the condition that they focus on the shelter and the animals, not just on him. The story aired on a Tuesday evening. It showed Minjun walking dogs and cleaning kennels. It talked about the importance of adopting shelter animals instead of buying from breeders or pet stores. The response was immediate. The shelter received dozens of calls from people wanting to adopt. That weekend, 12 animals found new homes. Karen was amazed. I've been doing this for 15 years, she told Minjun. I've never seen such a response from one news segment. People trust you. They see your sincerity. You're making a real difference here. Minjun was happy, but he was also thinking bigger. One evening at dinner, he brought up an idea to his parents. What if I started a social media campaign? He asked. Something to encourage more people to help animals, to volunteer, to adopt, to donate to shelters. I already have a platform because of the Buddy video. Why not use it for something good? His parents looked at each other. His father nodded slowly. That sounds like a wise use of your situation, he said. With Jiwoo's help, Minjun created a new social media campaign called Be Someone's Hero. The concept was simple. He would post photos and videos of shelter animals that needed homes. He would share information about how to help local shelters. He would encourage people to share their own stories of helping animals. The first post went up on a Thursday night. It was a photo of Minjun with Max, the German shepherd from the shelter. The caption read, "This is Max. He's been waiting for a family for 3 months. He's loyal, trained, and has so much love to give. But people keep walking past him because he's older. Age doesn't make him less deserving of love. It makes him wiser and calmer. Someone out there needs a dog like Max. Be someone's hero today. Adopt, don't shop." By Friday morning, the post had 50,000 likes. By Saturday, it had 200,000. And on Sunday afternoon, Karen called Minjun with exciting news. Max got adopted, she said, almost screaming into the phone. A veteran saw your post. He said Max reminded him of a dog he had in the service. He came in this morning and they bonded immediately. He's taking Max home today. Minjun felt tears spring to his eyes. He had only known Max for a few weeks, but he had grown attached to the old dog. Knowing that Max would have a loving home for his remaining years made everything worth it. That's amazing, Minjun said, his voice thick with emotion. And we've had 20 other adoption applications come in since your post, Karen added. All for older dogs. All because of what you wrote. Minjun, you're changing lives here. The Be Someone's Hero campaign grew quickly. Minjun posted several times a week, always featuring different animals from the shelter. Each post included information about the animal's personality and needs. Each one encouraged people to consider adoption. The responses were overwhelming. Other shelters started reaching out to Minjun. They asked if he would feature their animals too. He started a rotation, highlighting different shelters each week. Jiwoo helped him manage the social media accounts. It became a team effort. One evening, Minjun received an email from Rachel, Vin Diesel's assistant. The subject line read, "Vin wants to talk." Minjun's heart jumped. He opened the email. It said that Vin had been following his campaign and was impressed. He wanted to have a video call with Minjun if he was available. Minjun immediately responded that he would be available anytime. 2 days later, Minjun set up his laptop in his bedroom. Jiwoo was there too, sitting off to the side. At exactly 7 o'clock, the video call connected. Vin's face appeared on the screen, smiling that familiar smile. Min-jun? Look at you, man. I've been watching what you're doing with your campaign. It's incredible. Vin said, "Thank you. I was inspired by what you said when we met, about using whatever platform we have to help others. I figured I should practice what you preached," Min-jun said. Vin laughed. "And you're doing it better than I could have hoped. I saw that post about Max. That was powerful stuff. Simple, honest, straight from the heart. That's how you reach people." They talked for almost an hour. Vin shared stories about his own rescue dogs and the animal charities he supported. He gave Min-jun advice about managing a growing platform and staying authentic. He warned him about burnout and the importance of taking care of himself while helping others. "You can't pour from an empty cup," Vin said. "Remember that. Help as much as you can, but don't forget to rest and recharge too." Before they ended the call, Vin had one more surprise. "I talked to my team about your campaign. We want to help amplify it. I'm going to share some of your posts on my accounts. That should bring more attention to the cause. Is that okay with you?" Min-jun could not believe it. "Are you serious? That would be incredible. Consider it done. And hey, we're still on for that movie set visit in a few months, right? You haven't forgotten about that?" "No way, I think about it constantly," Min-jun said with a huge grin. "Good. Bring your friend there if you want," Vin said, nodding toward Jiwoo, who waved excitedly at the camera. "We'll make it a day to remember." After the call ended, Min-jun and Jiwoo sat in stunned silence for a moment. Then they both started laughing and high-fiving. This was really happening. Their small campaign was about to get a massive boost from one of the biggest movie stars in the world. The next week, Vin shared one of Min-jun's posts on his social media accounts. The post featured a shy pit bull named Luna, who had been at the shelter for 6 months. Within hours, the post had millions of views. The shelter's phone rang nonstop. Luna was adopted the next day by a family who fell in love with her gentle nature. But more than that, the Be Someone's Hero campaign gained over 300,000 new followers in a single week. Donations poured into shelters across Los Angeles. Volunteer applications increased by 500%. Adoption rates hit record highs. Min-jun was overwhelmed, but in the best possible way. He had started with a simple goal, to help more animals like Buddy. Now he was part of something much bigger. A movement. A community of people who believed that every animal deserved love and protection. Mrs. Patterson visited the store one afternoon, with Buddy trotting beside her on his leash. She had seen all of Min-jun's posts and wanted to congratulate him. "Look what you started," she said, giving him a warm hug. "One act of kindness has turned into thousands of acts of kindness. That's the power of a good heart." Min-jun knelt down and petted Buddy. The little dog licked his hand, tail wagging happily. "I just wanted to do something that mattered," Min-jun said. "You have," Mrs. Patterson assured him. "More than you know." That night, Min-jun updated his campaign page with new photos from the shelter. He wrote about the importance of spaying and neutering pets. He shared tips for first-time pet owners. He celebrated the successful adoptions from the previous week. Before he posted, he paused and looked at what he had written. A few months ago, he was just a regular kid working in his family's store. Now he was making a real difference in the world. And it all started because he chose to act when he saw someone in need. He clicked post and closed his laptop. Tomorrow was another volunteer day at the shelter. There would be more animals to help, more lives to change, more heroes to inspire, and Min-jun could not wait to get started. 6 months had passed since Min-jun ran into traffic to save Buddy. It felt like a lifetime ago and yesterday at the same time. So much had changed. His Be Someone's Hero campaign now had over 1 million followers. Dozens of shelters across California worked with him regularly. Hundreds of animals had found homes because of his posts. The small act of courage had created ripples that spread farther than he ever imagined. On a cool evening in early December, Min-jun received an email from Rachel. The subject line made his heart race. "Special event. Your presence requested." He opened it immediately and read. Vin Diesel was being honored at an animal rescue gala in Los Angeles. It was a big event with hundreds of guests. Important people from animal welfare organizations would be there. Celebrities who supported animal causes would attend, and Vin had specifically requested that Min-jun and his family come as his personal guests. Min-jun read the email 3 times to make sure he understood correctly. A formal gala. with movie stars and important people, and he was invited as a guest of honor. His hands were shaking as he showed his parents. "This is a very big event," his mother said, reading the details carefully. "Are you sure you want to go? There will be many fancy people there. Mom, Vin invited us personally. How can I say no?" Minjun replied. His father nodded in agreement. "We should go. It is an honor to be invited." The next 2 weeks were a whirlwind of preparation. Minjun had never been to a formal event before. His mother took him to rent a suit. It was the first time he had ever worn anything so fancy. Black jacket, white shirt, black tie, pressed pants. When he looked at himself in the mirror, he barely recognized the person staring back. Jiwoo was jealous but supportive. "You better take 1,000,000 pictures," he said. "And if you meet any other celebrities, get their autographs." The night of the gala arrived cold and clear. A car picked up Minjun and his parents at 6 o'clock. This time it was even fancier than before. An actual limousine. Minjun had only seen cars like this in movies. The inside had leather seats, small lights along the ceiling, and even a mini refrigerator stocked with drinks. The drive took 45 minutes. They pulled up to a beautiful hotel in downtown Los Angeles. Red carpet stretched from the street to the entrance. Photographers lined both sides. Lights flashed constantly. Minjun felt his stomach flip. This was much bigger than he expected. Rachel met them at the entrance. She wore an elegant black dress and looked completely at ease. "You made it. You all look wonderful. Don't worry about the photographers. Just smile and walk normally. Vin is already inside waiting for you." They walked down the red carpet. Camera flashes went off. Minjun had no idea who most of these photographers were, or why they wanted pictures of him. But he smiled like Rachel suggested and kept walking. His parents held hands and stayed close to him. Inside the hotel ballroom was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Round tables covered in white cloth filled the room. Each table had beautiful flower arrangements as centerpieces. A stage stood at the front with a podium and a large screen. Everything looked expensive and elegant. Rachel led them to a table near the front. The place cards had their names written in beautiful calligraphy. Minjun sat down feeling completely out of his element. Other guests were arriving, all dressed in formal clothes. He recognized a few faces from TV and movies but did not want to stare. "Minjun!" He turned and saw Vin walking toward him. The actor wore a sharp black suit and looked every bit the movie star. But his smile was the same warm, genuine smile from before. He shook Minjun's hand firmly and greeted his parents like old friends. "I'm so glad you all could make it. This night wouldn't be complete without you here," Vin said. "We're honored to be invited," Minjun replied. He was trying to sound confident, but his voice shook slightly. Vin sat down at their table. "You nervous? Don't be. Everyone here is just people. Some of them happen to be famous, but they're still just people, and tonight isn't about fame. It's about celebrating the work being done to help animals. You're as much a part of that as anyone in this room. More than most, actually." Those words helped Minjun relax a little. Vin had a way of making him feel comfortable no matter the situation. The gala began with a reception hour. Waiters walked around with trays of fancy appetizers. Minjun tried a few things he had never tasted before. Some were delicious. Some were strange. His parents stuck mostly to familiar foods, looking slightly overwhelmed but happy. Vin introduced them to several people throughout the evening. A famous actress who ran a dog rescue in her spare time. A wealthy businessman who donated millions to animal welfare causes. A veterinarian who traveled to disaster areas to help injured animals. Each person was impressive in their own way, and each person knew about Minjun's story. "You're the young man who saved that dog," the actress said, shaking his hand enthusiastically. "I watched that video at least 10 times. You're braver than most action heroes I know." Dinner was served at 7 o'clock. Multiple courses. Minjun had to watch which fork to use by copying what others did. But the food was incredible. Each dish was like a work of art. His parents whispered to each other in Korean, amazed at everything. After dinner, the program began. A woman walked onto the stage and welcomed everyone. She talked about the importance of animal rescue work. She introduced several people who had made significant contributions to the cause. Each one came on stage, said a few words, and received an award. Then she said something that made Minjun's heart stop. "And now, I'd like to invite Vin Diesel to the stage. He's being honored tonight for his lifetime commitment to animal welfare and his generous contributions to shelters across the country." The room erupted in applause. Vin stood up, buttoned his jacket, and walked confidently to the stage. He shook the woman's hand and accepted a beautiful crystal award. Then he stepped up to the microphone. The room went quiet. "Thank you all for being here tonight," Vin began. His voice filled the room easily. "I've been passionate about animal welfare my whole life. I grew up with dogs. They taught me about loyalty, unconditional love, and what it means to be part of a family. Over the years, I've tried to use whatever platform I have to help animals in need, because they can't speak for themselves. They need us to be their voice." He paused and looked directly at Minjun's table. "But a few months ago, I saw something that reminded me why this work matters so much. I saw a video of a 17-year-old kid running into traffic to save a dog he didn't know. A dog belonging to a stranger. He didn't hesitate. He didn't think about the danger to himself. He just acted, because in that moment that dog needed someone, and this young man chose to be that someone." Vin gestured toward Minjun. "Minjun, would you please stand up?" Minjun's face went hot. Everyone in the room turned to look at him. He slowly stood up, feeling like his legs might give out. The room burst into applause. "Minjun Kim reminded me that heroes aren't just in movies," Vin continued. "Real heroes are people who act with courage and compassion when it matters most." Since that day, Minjun has done something incredible. He started a campaign called Be Someone's Hero that has helped hundreds of shelter animals find homes. He volunteers every week at his local shelter. He uses his platform to educate people about animal welfare. He's 17 years old and he's making a bigger difference than most of us make in a lifetime. The applause grew louder. Minjun felt tears in his eyes. He looked at his parents. His mother was crying. His father had his arm around her, his own eyes glistening. "So tonight, along with accepting this award, I want to do something else," Vin said. "I'm announcing the creation of the Minjun Kim Scholarship Fund. This fund will provide scholarships for young people who want to pursue careers in veterinary medicine or animal welfare. We'll select recipients based on their commitment to helping animals and their dedication to making a difference in their communities." Minjun's jaw dropped. A scholarship fund. In his name. He could not believe what he was hearing. "The first recipient will be someone from Minjun's own community," Vin continued. "Someone who shares his values and his passion. Applications will open next month. Because Minjun showed me that when we invest in young people who care, we invest in a better future for all of us." For people and animals alike, the applause was deafening now. People stood up. A standing ovation. For what Vin was doing. For what Minjun had done. For the idea that kindness could create lasting change. Vin gestured for Minjun to come to the stage. Minjun hesitated. He had not prepared to speak in front of hundreds of people. But Vin kept waving him forward. On shaking legs, Minjun walked up to the stage. Vin put his arm around his shoulders. "Do you want to say anything?" Vin asked quietly, holding the microphone away. Minjun nodded. He had to. All these people were here. They cared about the same things he cared about. He had to try. Vin handed him the microphone. Minjun looked out at the crowd. So many faces. So many important people. He took a deep breath. "I don't really know what to say," he began. His voice cracked slightly, but he continued. "When I ran into that street to save Buddy, I wasn't thinking about anything except helping him. I didn't want recognition or rewards. I just wanted him to be safe." He paused and gathered his thoughts. But something amazing happened after that. I learned that one action can inspire many others. That when we choose kindness, it spreads. When we choose courage, it gives others courage too. Buddy taught me that every life has value. Every creature deserves protection and love. The animals in shelters aren't there because they're bad. They're there because they need someone to give them a chance. His voice grew stronger as he spoke. The words were coming from his heart now. "I'm not special. I'm just a regular person who saw someone in need and helped. But that's the point. We're all regular people. We all have the power to help. To volunteer. To adopt, to donate. To speak up for those who can't speak for themselves. We can all be someone's hero." He looked at Vin, then back at the audience. "Thank you to everyone here who dedicates their time and resources to helping animals. Thank you to Vin for this incredible honor. And thank you for reminding me that when we work together, we can change the world, one life at a time." The room exploded with applause again. Minjun handed the microphone back to Vin, his hands shaking. Vin pulled him into a tight hug. "That was perfect," Vin whispered. "Absolutely perfect. They walked off stage together to continued applause. Min-jun returned to his table where his parents immediately hugged him. His mother was sobbing now. His father squeezed his shoulder firmly, pride written all over his face. The rest of the evening felt like a dream. Person after person came up to congratulate Min-jun. They thanked him for his work. They asked about his campaign. They wanted to support him. Business cards and contact information were exchanged. Promises of future collaborations were made. After the formal program ended, there was a private reception for special guests. Min-jun found himself in a smaller room with Vin and about 20 other people. These were the major donors and organizers. They talked about the future of animal welfare, about new initiatives, about changing laws to protect animals better. Vin pulled Min-jun aside at one point. They stood by a window overlooking the city lights. "I meant what I said up there," Vin said seriously. "That scholarship fund is real. We're going to help young people like you make a difference. You've already changed so many lives. This will help you change many more." "I don't know how to thank you," Min-jun said. "For everything. For believing in me, for supporting my work, for being the kind of person who inspired me to keep going. You don't need to thank me. You inspired yourself. I just helped shine a light on what you were already doing." Vin smiled. "But I do have one more thing for you." He pulled out an envelope from his jacket pocket and handed it to Min-jun. "Open it later, when you're home. It's just a little something to help with your future plans." Min-jun took the envelope carefully. He could tell there was something important inside but did not want to be rude by opening it now. The evening wound down around 11 o'clock. Min-jun and his parents said goodbye to Vin and thanked him again. Rachel arranged for their car to take them home. As they rode back through the night-lit streets of Los Angeles, Min-jun felt completely drained but happy. It had been the most incredible night of his life. When they got home, Min-jun went to his room and changed out of the suit. He sat on his bed in his comfortable clothes and remembered the envelope Vin had given him. He pulled it out of the suit jacket pocket and carefully opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter and a check. Min-jun read the letter first. "Min-jun, you've shown me what real heroism looks like. As you think about college and your future, I want you to have the freedom to pursue whatever path calls to you. This is to help with that journey. But more importantly, remember that the impact you're making isn't about money or fame. It's about heart. Never lose that. Your friend, Vin." Min-jun looked at the check. His eyes widened. It was made out to him for $50,000. For his college education. He sat there staring at it, unable to process what he was seeing. His door opened and his mother peeked in. "Are you okay? You've been very quiet." Min-jun showed her the check and the letter. She sat down next to him and read everything carefully. Then she hugged him tightly and cried again. Happy tears. Grateful tears. Proud tears. "You're a good son," she said in Korean. "A good person. You deserve all of this." The next morning, Min-jun woke up and checked his phone. Vin had posted photos from the gala on social media, including several of Min-jun on stage. The caption read, "Last night I met with real heroes. Young people like Min-jun who are changing the world through kindness and action. If you want to be inspired, follow his campaign, be someone's hero, and consider adopting a shelter animal. Every life matters. Every choice to help makes a difference." The post had already gained 5 million likes and thousands of comments. Min-jun's campaign page gained 200,000 new followers overnight. Shelter applications across the country increased. It was happening again. One post creating massive waves of positive change. That afternoon, Min-jun and Ji-woo went to the shelter for their regular volunteer shift. Karen met them at the door with a huge smile. "We had 40 adoption applications come in this morning," she said excitedly. 40? All because of last night's posts. Min-jun, what you're doing is changing everything." They spent the morning walking dogs and cleaning kennels like always. Min-jun found comfort in the routine. In the simple act of caring for animals who needed help. That was what mattered most. Not the fancy galas or the celebrity attention, but this, the real work. The daily choice to show up and help. During a break, Min-jun sat in the puppy play area. A litter of mixed-breed puppies climbed all over him, licking his face and tugging on his shoelaces. He laughed and played with them, forgetting about everything else for a moment. Mrs. Patterson stopped by that afternoon with Buddy. She had heard about the gala and wanted to congratulate Min-jun in person. Buddy ran straight to him, barking happily. Min-jun scooped up the little dog and held him close. "Look at what you started," Mrs. Patterson said, gesturing around the shelter. "All because you chose to save this little guy." Min-jun looked at Buddy, the dog that had changed everything. "He saved me too," Min-jun said quietly. "He showed me what I was meant to do." As the sun began to set, Min-jun walked home from the shelter. He thought about everything that had happened since that hot Tuesday afternoon 6 months ago. Running into traffic, meeting Vin Diesel, starting his campaign, speaking at the gala, the scholarship fund created in his name, but most of all he thought about the animals. The hundreds who had found homes, the thousands more who would benefit from increased awareness, the future veterinarians who would get scholarships to pursue their dreams, the ripple effects that would continue long after he was gone. He pulled out his phone and opened his campaign page. Time for a new post. He uploaded a photo of himself with Buddy and wrote, "6 months ago, I ran into traffic to save this little dog. I had no idea that moment would change my life. But the truth is, small moments of courage can lead to big changes. Every time you choose kindness, every time you help someone in need, every time you stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves, you're creating ripples that spread farther than you can see. Be someone's hero today, and tomorrow, and every day after that. The world needs more people who care." He hit post and put his phone away. Tomorrow he would have homework to do. The store would need help. There would be more animals to care for at the shelter. Life would continue its normal rhythm. But now Min-jun understood something fundamental about his place in the world. He had a purpose, a calling, to help those who could not help themselves, to inspire others to do the same, to prove that ordinary people could do extraordinary things when they chose courage over comfort. He reached his family's store and looked up at the apartment windows above it. His home, his family, his life. It was simple and beautiful and full of possibility. Min-jun smiled and walked inside, ready for whatever came next. Because now he knew the truth. Heroes weren't born special. They were made through choices. And every day brought a new chance to choose kindness, to choose courage, to choose love. Every day brought a new chance to be someone's hero.